How did you come from ophthalmology to writing articles about diet, meat, and the environment?
Good question, and it's a long-winded answer, I'm sorry, but I have been in the medical profession for over 40 years. I've been in the ophthalmic profession for 35 years. I co-founded and ran a not-for-profit called Cyactiv, which we really launched, I suppose, back in 2007. And the focus of Cyactiv was really fighting blindness, and fighting blindness primarily in many of the poor communities and countries in the world. Our focus was in Asia, which was home to half the world's blind adults and 2/3 of the world's blind kids, and was all about sustainable education, equipping our colleagues with the appropriate diagnostic tools, surgical instruments, etc., so that they could sustainably and comprehensively fight blindness. So we'd always had an element of the work that we're doing here in Australia, but you can imagine in poor countries in the world, often access to medical treatment, ophthalmic treatment, eye surgery, for example, might be limited, and it may also be very expensive and prohibitive for many people. We don't have that problem in Australia. The problem here is one of awareness. We don't have Medicare is available for everyone, so essentially Medicare allows a free treatment for most people. Or for all Australians, really. And also, we have eye specialists, optometrists that go out to even the most remote communities in Central Australia on a regular basis. So access, affordability, accessibility shouldn't be an issue. So why is it that we have such a blinding problem in diabetes? So diabetes is the leading cause of blindness amongst working age adults in this country. It's the fastest growing cause of vision loss amongst our First Nations people. So we've always had this responsibility to have a footprint here in Australia with Sight for All, and that footprint has been largely about raising awareness. So we've created a number of videos, short films, cartoons, music videos, which really highlight this critical issue and some of the major blinding diseases in our community, and particularly in Aboriginal communities. We've created a number of platforms to try and raise awareness, to try and encourage people to have their eyes checked. For example, I mentioned that diabetes is the fastest growing cause of vision loss amongst Aboriginal people. Unfortunately, type 2 diabetes, which makes up about 90% of cases, is in epidemic proportions in Aboriginal people. It's grown 80-fold over the last 40, 50 years. It's absolutely staggering. And so I'd say about 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 20 people, 1 in 10, 1 in 5 people who have diabetes, Aboriginal people, are having their eyes checked on a regular basis. We know in Australia, well over half of people with diabetes are not having their regular checks. These are sight-saving eye checks, and then they're putting themselves at risk. That's why it's become such a blinding disease. So really, that's how I transited from the guy at the end of the line treating the end-stage complications of diabetes, and as I mentioned, the majority of cases are due to type 2 diabetes, which is a largely avoidable man-made dietary disease, to being an advocate for people with type 2 diabetes. And that really arose during this incredible opportunity I had when I was awarded Australian of the Year in early 2020. And I wasn't expecting to win that award, but I thought that what's an Australian doctor, if he was to win that award, what should be my focus? And I decided, rather than focus on the work of Sight for All, which is important, rather than focus on just the blinding consequences of diabetes, I would make my platform really about raising awareness, lobbying the government around the critical issue of diabetes, which is now, as I mentioned, in epidemic proportions in this country, and it really needs to be addressed.